will be coming and explaining a detailed theoretical explanation of the Muraqba dua. Ustad Israj Mahmood is a businessman. By trade he works in his own family business and is a manager of that. Not only has he got his degree in psychology, he's also studying an alim course under Ustad Imam Qais, and is also our Ustad who focuses and is under the guidance of Sheikh Ahmed Dabag. So I'd like to call Ustad Israj Mahmood to the table, and he will go ahead and explain how we can do this Muraqba dua. As we know that in the hadith it's mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that dua is the essence of worship. But sometimes you're going throughout life, we don't even know how to make dua. We don't know the different milestones in actually making your dua itself. And now, inshallah, a detailed explanation on how to make a dua, not only spiritually but physically, so then we can attain more through our dua. Jazakallah khair.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we have been blessed today to learn about the tools that will help us to build our relationship and our attachment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Akhirah. Now, why is it important? And the words attachment and relationship, why did I mention these two words particularly? The reason for that is because all things in this dunya is a matter of attachment and relationship. For example, people who chase wealth and money, the reason they chase it is because they have some form of an attachment to it. There's something binding to them that they go after the money, the wealth. For those people who want to chase drugs, they have some sort of attachment to the drug, that they keep going after it again and again. It can be women, can be fame and name, but they have a relationship, some sort of personal attachment to it. So everything we do, we have some form of an attachment to it. So likewise, we also have an attachment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the Akhirah. So today we're going to go over one of the tools that helps us to develop that attachment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I would just like to ask us all, when I mention the word worship or ibadah, what is the first thing that comes to our mind? Someone's supposed to put their hand up. Come, brother, at the back. Prayer. Okay. Anyone else? Someone from the front? Brother, how about yourself? When I say ibadah, worship, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Prayer for Allah. Yes, brother? Servanthood. Okay. Anyone from this side? Brother, how about yourself? Yes, yeah.
I think it'll come that love.
Love. Okay, so these are, you could say, the effects of worship. But in itself, worship, so we have, for example, salah, that is an act of worship. Hajj, these are sort of acts of worship. But ultimately, in all of this, there is a one common thing, is that is all a form of communication. When you are praying to Allah, any form of prayer, be it Hajj, be it Salah, if you're giving Zakah, not necessarily does it have to be verbally. Communication can also be physically, but it is all a form of communication, ibadah. So, the thing which I want to look at now is the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he mentions about ibadah. What does he state about ibadah, about worship? To the nearest meaning, he said that dua is the essence of all worship, of ibadah. Like the brother mentioned, the Ustad mentioned, that dua is the essence. But what do we mean by this? Dua is the essence, the kernel, i.e. it's the purest substance. It is the best form of ibadah. It is like the core, the central. That dua is the kernel, the essence of worship. Now, the question arises is why? Why is dua the essence of worship? This is because if we look at ibadah in general, worship, be it salah, hajj, it is supposed to connect the worshipper to the one who is being worshipped. So the person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the purpose of it, to connect. To connect the one who is worshipping to the one who is being worshipped. So for example, salah, other worships, other than dua, they connect you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what I want to ask you all now is, what is the difference between dua and, for example, salah, or reciting Quran, or giving charity? They're both are forms of worship. But why, now thinking about the hadith which I've just mentioned, that dua is the essence of worship, now why is the preference being given to dua and not given to salah or Quran? So I just want you to think about that, and when you've got to think about it, just put your hand up and let me know what you think. If you take too long, I'll just have to choose you as well. Anyone? Like to go? Brother at the back there. So why would you think dua has been given the preference over salah or Quran? Why do you think dua is the essence of worship? The core, the main, you could say the main aspect of worship. No answer. Anyone from this side would like to answer? Brother?
Because you're actually calling out to
MashaAllah. So,
and we are actually submitting to this.
yes, this is also correct. But like the brother is saying, this is more towards the definition that dua is a direct communication, whereas other are indirect. Now, what do I mean by this? I'll give you an example. Why is dua direct and other forms of worship indirect? Just we have a brother here, the name by Abdullah. Just say Abdullah is sat here, and I say, MashaAllah, Abdullah is very knowledgeable. He's got a very good character. He's a decent person. I'm praising him, but it's indirect. But if I say, oh Abdullah, how are you? MashaAllah, you're a very good person. You know, you have a lot of knowledge. It has a different effect. This is more direct. Firstly, I was speaking about the person, but I wasn't speaking to the person. Or if I was, it was not specifically to him, it was about him. Whereas when I said, oh Abdullah, and I'm looking at him and I'm talking to him, it is more of a direct or a closer form of communication. So this is the difference between dua and other worships. You are praising Allah in salah, but you're not speaking to Him directly. So a form of indirect communication. Whereas dua, when you say, Ya Allah, oh Allah, I need your help. You know, you're seeking directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ibadah means to connect, to communicate, and the quickest, you could say, the fast line, the direct line, is the speed dial, you could say, is the dua, where you want an instant connection. Instant connection is the dua. It's the fastest form of communication. even though we might be asking other worldly things, it might not be very important, but the fact is that we are directly connected to Allah. Could be asking about wealth, health, whatever it is, but the fact is that we are directly connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we are doing dua. So the Prophet mentioned that dua is the essence of ibadah. It is, for example, the spirit of ibadah, how we have the spirit of the body. It is a spirit of worship. So now the question arises, what is the essence of dua? What is the kernel? What is the substance? What is the purest form of dua? What is the purest substance within the dua? How do you get the most out of the dua you make? One is just doing dua. So if I'm just sat here doing dua and I'm thinking about this, that, how pure is that dua? So how do I make that dua effective, pure? How do I make sure that when I've got that direct line, it's strong, it's connected? So for example, you might have Wi-Fi at home, but the connection could be weak. How do you make sure that that connection is full, is fully connected? So this is the essence of dua. What is the essence of dua? So the essence of dua is Muraqba. Muraqba is the essence of dua. Now, what does Muraqba mean? Muraqba comes from the quality of Allah and the word Raqib, the all-watching. But in this meaning, it means is the presence of Allah. Being watchful. I.e., when you are making dua, you are in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the essence of dua. This is what makes sure that direct line, that it stays connected, that it stays strong. And how do we know this? How do we know that muraqabah, being in the presence of Allah while making dua, is the essence of dua? Because in another hadith, it is mentioned, to the nearest meaning, Allah does not accept a dua of the person whose heart has been distracted. So who is heedless. If I'm making dua but I'm not even thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what type of dua is this? This is meant to be the essence of worship, the best form, yet the duas are not being answered. Why? Does not make sense, because I'm heedless at that point. So the essence of dua, what makes dua the purest of the purest, what makes it to be strong, is that a person is in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when they are making dua. So to easily understand what I'm trying to say is, for example, you might have milk, okay, milk. And out of milk you can make many things. You can make cream, you can make margarine. But one of the purest extracts out of milk is butter. Butter is one of the purest things that come out of milk. So, for example, you could say ibadat, worship in general, is like milk. There are different forms can be made out of milk, like we said. And like the cream and the yogurt can be like dua. But the best form, the strongest thing is the butter. That is the strongest extract. And that is what the muraqabah is. That's what the muraqabah dua is. The essence of dua is like the pure butter that you extract. So it's the best form. And you know, when you eat butter, it gives you that strength. You feel the strength. This is what it's like when you perform dua in the rightful way, when you're in the presence of Allah. It has a complete different effect compared to when you're just making dua heedlessly without being in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So similarly, once you doing the muraqabah dua, so basically you have two essence here. You have two spirits. You have the best form of worship, the essence of which is dua, and then you have the essence of dua, the best way of performing dua, and you put the two together, and then you see your relationship with Allah just rocket, increase. Because now you are in a very strong connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you see the difference in your dua. And this methodology of dua, this muraqabah dua, it is also a solution for those people who say, you know, we cannot pray, we are struggling, we find difficult to do ibadat. You know, they do pray sometimes here and there, but this is a solution, because the problem is not that we can't pray, so we're not attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no attachment. So when we have no attachment, it's very difficult to do something. So now, through this presentation, we're going to get the answer, and we're going to go through how to do muraqabah dua. And inshallah, step by step, you'll understand a bit better, and inshallah, then you'll go on to a practical. So, as you see, it says, Muraqba dua. So we kind of understood now, I'm hoping. Just going to ask a couple of questions just to make sure we're on the same. So when I refer to the word Muraqba, can someone explain to me what I mean by Muraqba? Anyone? The word Muraqba. The essence of dua. But what does it mean practically? Presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is the essence of worship? The essence of worship. So the best form of worship, dua. Yeah, alhamdulillah. So at least we're on the right lines. So now, the first thing we do before we can do the Muraqba dua is we've got to prepare ourselves. We've got to prepare us like anything you do. We'll do before salah, like a preparation. The same way we have to prepare ourselves mentally before to do that. And one of the ways we do this is to initially just come into the presence of Allah, as we mentioned. So coming into the presence of Allah. And the way we do this is keeping three keys in mind. That Allah is with me, Allah is seeing me, and Allah is hearing me. So we initially start by keeping these three keys in mind. So we connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the same time, while we are connecting like this, just keep on going over these three keys, we realize and we present that, and in our mind we come to the realization that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows my weaknesses. Allah Ta'ala knows my financial situation. Allah Ta'ala knows everything about me, my health, my weaknesses, my good, my bad. So while we kind of humble ourselves in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He is the one who's created us. Of course He knows everything about us. But it's coming into that presence. It's making that yourself aware of this. So this, we will start by doing this. So then what we will do is we will recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, start in the name of Allah. Then once we have recited Bismillah, then we will recite Astaghfirullah 3 times. Now, why would we recite Astaghfirullah? Can someone just think, why would you recite Astaghfirullah before you do the dua? Why? What is important about reciting Astaghfirullah? First, someone tell me when they say Astaghfirullah, what is it? What are we doing? When we say Astaghfirullah, can anyone tell me? You're seeking for forgiveness. And let me give you an example of why this is important. And this shouldn't just be applied here, this should be applied everywhere. If we're asking someone for something, yet we've displeased them, what is the likeliness of that person giving us something that we ask for? If we've harmed someone, if we've violated their rights, what is the likeliness of them giving us something? So at least if we seek forgiveness of that person, of that individual or whomever, then we have more of a chance, or we're more likely to get what we seek. So this is why it's important. Even people go to Medina, to meet Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to ziyarah. They don't realize how many rights they've violated. They ask Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, can I have this? I need this? I have this problem. But they don't stop to seek forgiveness first. That also for the rights that I've violated of yours, please forgive me, then ask. We just ask. So number one is we have to seek forgiveness. So we get into the presence, we recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Then we recite Astaghfirullah. But don't just recite Astaghfirullah. Reciting is not sufficient. One has to be remorseful for what they've done, in a state of guilt. Imagine you presenting yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're saying Astaghfirullah, what are you actually seeking forgiveness for? You're seeking forgiveness for all the things you've done with your organs, with your hands, that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you and me. He has given us these gifts, and we've used them in a way which displeases Him, in front of Him, while He is aware of that. So be remorseful and seek forgiveness, not just from the tongue, but from the mind and from the heart. So you recite Astaghfirullah 3 times. And then once we've recited Astaghfirullah, then we will recite Durood Sharif 3 times. So you can recite this with any Durood, but generally we recite this Durood, which everyone is familiar with. So you recite Durood Sharif 3 times, then you will go on to La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You will recite this 3 times. Now this is very important. It is one of the verses which is read a lot, but very much not understood, least understood. It is read a lot of people say it, generally people might say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Comes out, but Not many people understand what they're reading. And here it says, what is the translation? It's not written here, but it is that there's no power or might in this world except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why this key is very important for us is because many people may come here and think, oof, you know what, I can't achieve this, what I've come here today. What, spiritual unveilings, what is it? I can't achieve. How am I? I'm a sinner. How can I possibly achieve this? Many of us probably are thinking this right now. Well, guess what? I'm not going to surprise you. You're correct. None of us can achieve this. But it's by relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is how we're going to achieve this. And this is what la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah means, that, Ya Allah, I am a sinner. I have no power, but I'm leaving it to you. I'm relying on you. I'm making effort, but I'm actually relying on you. You are the one who gives the ability. So it's very important that we recite that with that understanding, that when we are saying la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be the one who gives me the ability to travel, to see the unseen. As long as we do what we're instructed to do, then leave the rest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look, in the night of Miraj, when Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam went, one of the ayats which is mentioned, Subhanallazi asra bi abdi, that he is pure beyond any defect, the one who took his servant from Masjid Haram to Masjid Al-Aqsa. He is pure beyond any defect. I.e., it's mentioned that Allah Ta'ala, He is the one who took Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that Allah is the one who is pure. Allah Ta'ala has no defect. Allah Ta'ala is pure, the Almighty. Allah is the one who took His beloved. So to our own level, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can also take us on a spiritual journey. So don't rely on yourself, but rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and see how your journey will rocket even within these 3 days that we are here. So now we go on to the methodology. This is the sort of preparation. So this is you're preparing yourself to start the Muraqba dua. Now what we will do is, the methodology here now is, once you've gone through the preparation, so you've recited Bismillah, you've come into the presence, your mind's the 3 keys, you've recited Bismillah, then Astaghfirullah 3 times, Durood Sharif 3 times, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Now you'll begin to visualize, to take your connection even deeper, to build it deeper, to use visualization to help you to build a deeper connection. So now what you'll do is, I'm not going to do it now, but when you do it, the practical, is you're going to close your eyes and then imagine the name of Allah like you can see here, but in front of you, above you, shining bright, illuminating, how you can see in this picture, shining bright in the sky. All you can see in the sky is the name of Allah. So when you close, you're going to imagine this. And then what you're going to imagine is that the light from the name of Allah is emanating and is touching your head. So this is the name of Allah in front of you, you can see. And then from this name, this light is coming to your head. And you can feel this light touching your head. So you'll be imagining this. And then what you will do is, then you imagine that the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entered in your head, entered into your mind. And your mind now, all you can hear in your mind is Allah, 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 Allah. So you're still imagining the name, but at the same time you imagine that the light of Allah's name is coming into your mind. And then Allah, you can the name of Allah is in your mind and it's just illuminating your mind. And then you can just hear your mind saying Allah, Allah, Allah. It's saying nothing else. And while it's saying Allah, Allah, the light is, whatever darkness is in there is vanishing, it is being cleared in the mind. And then we move on to the heart. And then you see that the light then is penetrating through the body and into the heart. And then all you can hear is the heart saying Allah, 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 Allah. And what is this doing? It's like the name of Allah is like a light bulb. And when you switch on, Allah Ta'ala is what switches the heart on. Like a light bulb. The heart is dead without the zikr of Allah. So when you're saying Allah, Allah in the heart, not with your tongue but with your heart, it is like you're switching the light bulb inside. The light, the nur which is in your heart is coming, is enlightening, and the darkness is being removed every time. So you're imagining this, so that the light is coming through and your mind is saying Allah, Allah. Your heart at the same time is saying Allah, Allah. And then this light is filling the whole body up. So all the darkness which is in your body is being removed. There is no darkness. All you can hear now is Allah, the name of Allah everywhere in your body. Allah, Allah. This is all that is emanating, and at the same time, this light from the name of Allah is clearing everything out. And it's just light. All you can see now is light all over your body. And then around you, because you can hear everything else glorifying Allah. So one is your body, and around you the wall, because in reality everything is doing the dhikr of Allah. To the nearest meaning, it is mentioned that everything in the sky, in the earth, in this whole world, in the stars, the planets, everything is doing the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you imagine this. So wherever you are, everything, you can hear everything around you now. So not just within you is Allah's name is chanting, but around you. The walls, the atoms, every single thing here. It is only us, unfortunately, that we become forgetful of Allah. But everything else is in the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is also mentioned in the Quran, everything is glorifying the name of Allah. يُسَبِّحُ لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Everything in the sky and the world, everything is glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now this is the beginning. Now you have totally come into the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now you have detached everything from the world. There should be nothing worldly inside of you. Now the only thing that you should be thinking of is Allah. There should only be you and Allah at this point. And now during the Muraqba, so now you are connected. But the purpose is not just to be connected, but the purpose is when you are connected, then to seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because to the nearest meaning, the Quran has mentioned that Allah Ta'ala has mentioned that whoever seeks from me, whoever asks from me, I am sufficient for him. To the nearest meaning. Whoever seeks. And now, now you're ready, you've prepared yourself. So we'll be asking different things. And initially what we ask for is first we come into the presence of Allah. So we've understood that methodology of how to come in the presence of Allah. And then you'd present your sins. So 7 great sins. 7 major sins which you know are the worst sins. Because everyone knows what they've done wrong. Everyone knows what's wrong about them. It's not that they don't know. Everyone knows. Everyone knows the worst sin they've done. So you think of 7 great sins. And this is not with your tongue you're presenting. This is with your heart you're presenting. So 7 great sins. Then, after presenting 7 great sins, you're going to 7 blessings. Then 7 needs, problems, and then you seek guidance, 7 things of guidance, and then you rely on Allah. But I'm going to go into them one by one, but this is just an overview. So these are the things which you'll be speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And why the heart, not the tongue? The tongue can lie. The tongue can cheat. The tongue cannot always be truthful. But the heart is sincere. It does not lie. When you've done something wrong, you can say whatever you want on your tongue, but your heart knows inside what it's done wrong. Your heart, you know inside when you've done wrong or when you've not. So the heart, so why not when presenting yourself, when presenting your problem, when presenting your needs, you do it with the thing which is truthful inside of you, which is your heart, rather than doing it with your tongue. So you begin to present with your heart. So initially, so we mentioned coming into the presence of Allah, to have the 3 keys, that Allah's watching me, Allah's with me, Allah's listening to me, and then bringing yourself into this deep presence by imagining the name of Allah. It's coming into your mind, illuminating, then penetrating into your heart, and then your whole body is illuminated, and then everywhere around you can hear the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is initially establishing the presence. Then we start off with the 7 great sins. So you present your 7 great sins to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ones which you know you feel most regretful about. The ones that nobody else knows but you. Because they're the ones which are the worst. That you've always kept to yourself because you're too shameful. But Allah is the one who you need to present them to, because He is the one who can clean you of that sin. He is the most merciful. So when you're presenting these 7 sins, you want to be remorseful, shameful, that with this blessing, with this gift Allah Ta'ala has given us, this body, as perfect as it is and He has made it, we have decided to use it against Him, against what He has asked us to do. So then present these 7 sins. So then once you've presented your 7 sins, then you will go on to 7 blessings. Think about 7 blessings that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed upon you. So remember one blessing at a time and be thankful. So think of a blessing that 7, we've all been blessed with many things. And 7 is probably nothing compared to what Allah Ta'ala has given us. But think of the 7 which are the most greatest blessings that you think Allah Ta'ala has, that you thinking, wow, I did not deserve this. That is a great blessing when you yourself think, I did not deserve this. So blessings which you think that you did not deserve, 7 of them types of blessings, begin to one by one bring them in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart. Begin to present them and realize that you did not deserve it, and also be thankful to Allah. That, Ya Allah, I did not deserve this, yet you still give me this. Yet you still give me this blessing. So you present 7 blessings. Then you will go on to 7 needs. So what do we mean by needs is things that you want, you desire, but you can't get it. You're struggling to achieve it. So present one need at a time to Allah, the Exalted, and ask Him to fulfill your need, as He is the only one to fulfill the needs of all that exists. This is where we go wrong as well, that, we want something, we want a new job, we want a new car, we want to get married, whatever it may be. We try, it's just not happening. Because unfortunately, we think that everything is in our control. Reality is, Allah Ta'ala is the doer. Yes, you have to make effort, but Allah Ta'ala is the doer. So that need, that difficulty, the thing which might be stopping you from achieving is the fact that you're not going to the one who can give it to you. The one who's already given you all these blessings, but you thinking, no, I can do it, I can achieve it. So the things that you are struggling with, whatever it may be, financial, health, whatever it may be that you're struggling with, but the ones which are the most dearest to you, that they're always constantly on your mind, that you're thinking, you know what, I need this, I really need this. It can even be some desires or whatever it is, as long as they're lawful, that you present them. But the ones which are most important to you, the 7 most important ones. So you'll present these 7 needs. Then after this, you'll present 7 problems. Okay, see, we have a problem with the word problem, but we will say 7 problems. So think about 7 problems you may have. Present one problem at a time. So I want to ask you a question. What's the difference between a need and a problem? How do we know the difference between a need and a problem? Can someone tell me? Anyone like to have a go?
I think the problem is something you're associated with, you're in at the minute, it's there around you. The need is something away from you.
Yes.
Doesn't come your way.
Yes, mashallah. The brother's got it more or less in one, is that a problem is something you have but you don't want, whereas a need is something you want but you don't have. So that's how you know the difference between the two. So not to get them mixed up when you're doing that. So the need is something you want but you don't have it. And then the problem is you've got it but you don't want it. So then these are 7 things, these things that then you present to Allah. That you're always in this, you're stressed out, this is happening, different things, family problems, whatever they are. 7 most ones that are really affecting you. You present them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ones which are constantly on your mind. And then what you do is then, number 6 is, then you seek guidance. So the big decisions in your life, all of us, we have decisions to make. We all have different decisions in our life. Some may be work, career, might be family, again, marriage. They're generally the same, similar things. I want to start this course. I want to travel to this country to study or to work. The big decisions. But you don't know, should I do it, should I not? You just cannot make your mind up. So 7 big decisions which you're struggling to make your mind up. Present them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah ta'ala, I don't know, what should I do? Do I move to this country? Do I work here? Do I go into this job? Is this the correct person I need to marry? What? You just can't make your mind up. So this when you seek guidance from Allah. You seek from Allah Ta'ala to help you. So 7 things which you're really struggling with. And then after this is the reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is very, very important. This is the key. This is the very important key at the end. That you rely, at the end, combine all your needs, your problems, your difficulties, your worries, your concerns, and rely on Allah's power and knowledge as He is our Lord and our Creator, and you turn only to Allah. So basically, how do you do this now? Is that you don't just think of them, have them here, and just think, right, that's it, I've thought, I've presented. But now, what you need to do is, and the main thing here is, and a very important thing, is now that you've brought them here to the front, you've brought them here, you've presented them. Now what you need to do is, you need to give them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Release them from you permanently. And this is what reliance is that you are assigning them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what it is that, okay, because everyone's going to have problems in their life. But why is it that, some of us we deal with it, we don't? It's because a lot of us, we keep it inside. So now that you've presented it, now you actually want to give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you combine all of the 7 things, the sins, the blessings, the needs, the problems, the decisions, you put it all together and you imagine that you're putting it in a basket. That you imagine that it's all going into this one big basket, like this one big thing, pot, and this big basket. And then what you're doing is you're giving it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're sending it. So you imagine that basket is going to the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're imagining. But you don't just see it going, but you actually feel and you release it from your mind and your heart. And now you think to yourself that I've assigned this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've given this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala, that the one who trusts, the one who believes, the one who turns to Allah, who asks Allah ta'ala is sufficient for that person. So what does this mean? Is that you give to Allah ta'ala your problems, everything, and now you stop worrying about them and you adopt the means to whatever it is that you're doing, you carry on doing. Adopt the means to solve it, to get it, whatever it is, to say no, whatever, to stop it. You carry on adopting the means. But now the thing is, you took the worry. The worry is not yours anymore. The worry is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala will deal with this now. And this is one of the big reasons, that many of us, one of the things you see, people have a lot of stress. Oh, I'm stressed. Brother, I'm stressed. Or brother, I'm depressed. Life's getting too much. Why? Because you're bottling everything in. Your mind has become like a pressure cooker. Pressure cooker, when it's getting boiled and you got the lid on, it starts steaming up, doesn't it? The mind, you've made your mind like a pressure cooker. And what you're doing is you're just leaving everything in there. And as the fire underneath the cooker, so whatever tests and tribulations are coming, more and more heat is coming, you're not releasing it. So more and more pressure is coming in the mind. And the mind is very limited. The mind, it can only handle so much. And you know how the pressure cooker, it makes noises, different noises when it's really hot. That's what we start doing. We start screaming, we start crying, because we can't handle it no more. But the problem is that we're keeping it inside. We're not giving it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is our problem. This is one of the ways that people suffer from depression, and they can release that depression, that stress, is by just giving your problems to Allah. Allah ta'ala is the one who says that He's sufficient for us. So then why are we not presenting it to Allah ta'ala? Why are we not giving? Why are we keeping it inside? We have been made limited. It is not for us. Our job is to carry on. But the way to carry on is then to give. And look, Allah ta'ala mentions the nearest meanings is that one of the benefits of being the friends of Allah, that if you look at the friends of Allah, is that the friends of Allah, they have no fear and nor do they grieve. It mentioned in the Quran to the nearest meaning. They have no fear and nor do they grieve. This doesn't mean that they don't have concerns. In fact, if you look at the friends of Allah, the Sahaba and the likes, they had more problems than we could ever imagine. They went through more difficulty than we could ever imagine. But then why did they not bottle up? Why did they not? Because they presented it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They relied on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They gave them problems to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to deal with. Yes, they were concerned, but they were not concerned to the state that we get concerned, where it's like the problem now has possessed us like a jinn. It's like a spirit is coming and has possessed us. And we're always in that emotional state. We're always stressed out. Yes, it does concern them, but as soon as it concerns them, they present it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that concern goes. Spirit of that problem, it goes. They don't feel it, it's not possessed, it doesn't bring them down, it doesn't wear them down, they still carry on. So this is why this part is very important, that you put everything together and you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like this system Allah ta'ala has created in our body, for example, is like when we eat and drink, the beneficial things your body keeps and that which is wasteful, it is extracted out of the body. The mind and the heart should be the same. The good that comes we should keep, and the problems and the difficulties and the sins and whatever it is that's bringing us down, we should extract and give it to Allah ta'ala to deal with. But not to keep it inside, because like for example, if your body keeps poisonous stuff, food which is not good for it, what's going to happen? The body's going to break down. This way you start having liver problems, all these different types of bodily health problems start happening if the bad stuff stays in your body. Similarly with the mind and the heart. So that's why we have to rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything. So now, just to summarize, so now we know that everything needs to be put in a basket. So now I want to ask you, just to quickly go over so we're all aware of the theory. You are going to go into the practice of this and it will be explained again, but just so we're familiar, I want to just ask, I'm going to pick different brothers to tell me different parts of the Muraqba dua. So I just want to start off with the first method, the brother over here on the right. So when we start the Muraqba dua, what is the first thing we do to prepare ourselves? Yes, being in the present. Move on to the next. And what are the 3 keys that we use to keep in the presence of Allah? Yes, that's correct. And then once we've done that, what things do we recite, brother? One of the things. Bismillah. And could you tell me what we recite after that? How many times? 3 times. And then after that, Astaghfirullah. What do we recite? Do you remember? How about yourself, brother? Do you remember? And before that, yes, Durood Sharif 3 times. Then La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And then what do we do? Yourself, brother? Do you remember? Yourself, yeah. Yes, you again. Yes. Okay. Okay, and then, so like this example, and then after the head, where does the name go? Obviously, it's on the picture. Yourself, brother? Into the heart. Yes, and then after that, where do we imagine? Can someone tell me? Brother, yourself with the glasses. Not you this time, behind you. So once you've imagined that's in the heart, then what happens? What do you imagine? It's doing the same thing, yes. So chanting the name of Allah, Allah. And then we go on to the 7 different things which we seek. So just quickly, I'll just ask yourself, what's the first one? Major sins. And then after that, brother? No, that's at the end. So there's 7 different things. 7 blessings, that's correct. Yourself, and then after the blessings? Yes, 7 needs. And then brother, yourself? Problems. And the one after that? Brother, do you remember? Yes, so 7 needs, he said, 7 problems, then finally which one? What else do you present? Could someone help him out? So, guidance, yes. So you seek guidance, and then what was it that you mentioned? Present it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so that's basically it. But now inshallah you're going to go over the practical, and then once you do, then you'll understand better. So that, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka. Come on this side.
MashaAllah, it was a very high level overview of the Muraqba dua. And what a wonderful way to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a system that has been given by Ustad Siraj. So now, as Ustad Siraj mentioned, now we will do a practical session where Ustad Imam Qais will lead this practical Muraqba dua. So, yeah. Take.